Good morning, Raptor freaks. Alexios here. Monday morning, and the Raptors have beaten the Washington Wizards yesterday, while winning the season series 2-1. Important tiebreaker just in case, but it looks like Washington's not going to be battling in the play-in like we are. We did clinch a play-in spot also, so we have at least a play-in spot coming. Now we want to make sure it's in the higher part in either the seventh or eighth seed. So we got to continue to win. 37 wins for the Raptors this season. You do the math. 4 more wins will get us to a 500 season. So every game matters going out still with 2 games against Charlotte, Miami, and Philadelphia this week. Of course, 2 games against Boston and a game against Milwaukee. If we can get 4 wins out of those 7 wins somewhere in there, that would be real, real good. And I feel real good about our possibilities of doing that. We do have to win more than we lose, though. All right, let's see what you guys are saying first, and then we'll get right into reaction to the great victory over Washington yesterday. Seymour saying another convincing win, clicking at the right time. I love it. He's got graphs showing we're on an upward trend of things, good things happening. And I agree. It's really nice to see Scottie and Precious back in the lineup yesterday. Scottie just provides certain glue kind of stuff, just really fun stuff. What he was doing yesterday more was jumping in passing lanes and rebounding with 2 strong hands going up high and grabbing those rebounds, bringing them down, doing a lot of glue stuff, not necessarily the most flashy and important stuff in some ways. There's a comment by the Washington announcers last night that's kind of pissing Raptors Nation off today. This is what they said. This is what the Wizards broadcaster said. Now you got to realize this is Drew Gooden, and he's full of shit, because he's kind of an idiot. Let's just put it that way. Drew Gooden. He said if they want development from Scottie Barnes and feature him as a franchise piece, they need to make moves. I just don't think him and Siakam can coexist. This is what Drew Gooden said on the Wizards broadcast last night. It's ridiculous. Once again, it's the same bullshit that was used with Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady. It's the same bullshit that people use all the time. Superstars can coexist on other teams. You just don't like the Toronto Raptors having so much good talent. You fucking asshole, Drew Gooden. And I'm sick of it. Scottie's the kind of glue guy that can fit with anybody on his team. And I don't know what he thinks his development's supposed to become or what not. But in some ways, what Scottie's doing right now is exactly what he's supposed to be becoming. And I don't think that he's exactly a number one option for sure. He can be at times, and he could definitely take over for a game. But on the long haul of things for a whole 82 game season, I don't think he's the man. And it's not a slight to him. In fact, he's a very, very good, complimentary guy who does all kinds of different things because he can do anything on the court. You need a little bit of something on the court, you can get him to do it. So I don't get this. This really pisses me off. It is what it is. But yeah, what Wizards announcers, you're out of pocket. You're idiots. You don't understand what we're doing up here. And thank God we don't listen to people like you. And thank God we can just continue to do what we're doing already with the great Messiah running us. And he's not going to listen to the noise. He's not going to listen to y'all. Isaac Campbell saying Dowtin and Fred combo warming up. Really good to see Jeff Dowtin Jr. get some extended run last night, and he looked really good. He looked really capable. He looked really sound. He was playing really well with the regular rotation of the Raptors out there with a lot of time with the big names on our team, the guys who get the most minutes. And he didn't look out of place. He didn't look shaky. He didn't look nervous. He just looked like he was doing what he does on the 905 and other places and just doing it really well. I'm happy about that. Will getting hurt was bad in a lot of ways, but in some ways it's kind of like serendipitous in a way because we do need Jeff out there more because I feel more confident with him in certain ways. It's sad for Will Barton because he was actually starting to get some things cooking for himself in the game before he got hurt last night. And that's too bad. Because honestly, it's that kind of thing with Malachi, where it's Fred's hurt. Malachi, you got to do Fred's numbers in his minutes. And then you get hurt also. It's your spot is there. But as Nick put it after the game, it's now he has 2 injuries at the same position because he's saying Gary and Will play the same position. And now they're both out. So now he's going to have to figure things out. I'm going to guess that means more Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. And I am all about that. I'm all about that. In some ways, it's sad that Will Barton had this happen, but in some ways, this could be very good for the Raptors. Cowboys here. Good to see Bradley. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Hope you're feeling better. What a game. Let's keep it up, Raptors. Playoffs, here we come. And I agree, Seymour and Isaac. Let's go. Thank you, Bradley. Yes, I'm feeling slightly better. I'm not 100%, but I am definitely feeling a bit better than yesterday for sure. Thank you, and I appreciate that. And let's go, Bradley. Hope you have a great start to your week this Monday morning. A little bit rainy out there in Toronto right now. A little bit overcast, but hey, it could be worse. It could be a lot of snow, and it could be freezing. Shir Khan saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Another good game for the Raptors. OG looking good. Fred VanVleet got the vibes back. Nice to see Scottie back. I one more home game and then Miami. One more home game and it's Miami. Super pumped about the match. Hope everyone had a nice weekend. Yeah, thank you, Shir Khan. Yeah, it was an okay weekend. I will be going to that game tomorrow night against the Miami Heat, and I'll be in the building once again, trying to get loud and helping them cheer them on against the Heat, who are in a little bit of a weird place. There's dysfunction with this team. There's some very, very surly vets, and there's some very, very confusion and losing in different weird ways. Chris Boucher, after the game last night, looking forward to the Miami game, and he said this. He said, listen, if we play like we played today against the Wizards and we play together and we kick butt, I have very good confidence that we'll beat Miami on Tuesday. In some ways, I think the players understand that the Miami Heat don't have their shit together, and they're kind of having problems because they're losing games to teams that they should not be losing to right now, and there's frustration. You've seen Udonis Haslem on the bench holding his head and just like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. You see Jimmy Butler leaving the court early before the game is done in different games. So, yeah, there's real problems in Miami in a certain ways. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Now, if we beat them, for sure, that's a great thing, obviously. But if we lose to them also, I'll bring the bright side to you guys on Wednesday morning, trust me, because there is a bright side to it even if we lose. I want us to win, don't get me wrong, and I'd like to win for sure. But I already know a bright side if we lose to the Heat tomorrow. And it's great. All right, but yeah, I appreciate that, Shir Khan. Yeah, I agree. OG looked real good yesterday. Let's talk about the 3 stars of the game. Start with Mr. Anunoby in the first quarter, 18 points. One of the most solid opening quarters for any Raptor ever in the history of the Raptors. Just really on it, hitting threes and that short mid-range, just doing all kinds of stuff. The Wizards, as they said this guy was hitting everything. We couldn't stop him at the beginning of the game. He is my first star of the game. OG Anunoby, 37 minutes, 11 and 21 from the field. I love that kind of shooting. 4 of 10 from 3, 3 of 4 from free throw line, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks. OG had 3 blocks last night. In some ways, I feel like they stole some blocks from Koloko and gave OG some blocks because honestly, Koloko has got robbed. He's only listed for 1 block. We know he had more blocks than that. Plus 18 for OG with 29 points. Like we said, he had 18 points in the first quarter, and then they went away from him in the middle of the game, and then it came back to him a little bit more at the end, and he ended up getting 11 more by then. But yeah, very solid game by OG all around. I love the scoring, and he's just dialed in. You can tell, like, if he's going to shoot it from the outside, he really does have a zone that he gets into where he will make those because he's very dialed in. Fred is my second star, 10 of 21 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3, 3 of 3 from free throw land, and 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and a block, a plus 11 with 28 points. Freddie just steady, doing what Freddie does, hitting big threes at certain times, setting guys up in big plays, getting steals here and there, just being a leader, managing the flow of the game, managing the tempo of the game, and bringing us home to the win. Now, this was a game where we were leading the Wizards the whole entire game. This is the 5th time we've done that this season against teams. The last time we did it was against Denver when they visited Toronto in the last 2 weeks. And this is fantastic. I love these kind of wins where we're winning wire to wire. And there was only a section of the game in the late third quarter where they really started getting close to us again. In fact, we had such a horrible third quarter. It was really weird because we had such a good lead at the half, and they ate it up. They really had a really bad third quarter, letting them score 38 points, and that sucks. But they got a little close, but then we start putting them away again after the third quarter ended. In the fourth quarter, we really turned on some defensive juice and outscored them 27-20 in the last frame. Now, that was scary a little bit because it seemed like, all right, what are the Raptors doing? They've had a 21-point lead at one point in this game, and now all of a sudden the Wizards are breathing down our necks with like a 2 or 3 point lead. And I was getting a little worried because this has been a horror season, and we've seen these kind of things happen all year where we have something good going, and then all of a sudden it all falls apart right at the end. Well, thank God the Raptors are better than that at this point, and they didn't allow that to happen. Because honestly, in some ways, they have no business losing to that Washington team that showed up yesterday. That's just not a very talented team. And they just don't like, we look like a very talented, like good team all around with all of our all around good players like OG and Scottie and Pascal and Precious and Chris and stuff like that. And their team just doesn't have the talent to add up to us, even with a guy like Porzingis. My third star is Jakob Poeltl, 6 of 9 from the field, 12 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds. He was fantastic on there, getting us second chance points again. 1 assist, 1 steal, +7 for 12 points. It's another double-double for Jakob. He's really getting them quick since he's come back to Toronto after the trade deadline. He is stacking them up quick and getting on that double-double list for all-time Raptors. Higher and higher, rising up. So there's my 3 stars: OG, Fred, and Jakob. Special mention to Siakam and also to Mr. Barnes. Both of them playing quite well still. Like even though I didn't mention them, Pascal 7 of 17, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 for 4 at the free throw line. I like that Siakam made all of his free throws finally. This is a game where he finally made all his free throws. That's fantastic. He had a double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Siakam was great. He just missed a lot of shots also, but I really didn't have a problem with him too much. I thought that he was pretty good overall. And then Scottie, glue guy kind of stuff. This is what I'm saying. People that think Scottie, they're going to measure, like I think what Drew Gooden's problem is he's measuring Scottie by how much he scores. And I don't think that's a fair thing to do with Scott. Because in some ways, he's not trying to score. He's not being aggressive. He's not calling for the ball, and we're not setting him up with the ball. He really is out there to make the next winning play, whatever it is, whether it's an assist, a rebound, a steal, a block. It's all that kind of stuff. And it's not necessarily the shots. Sure, the shots fall into that category too. If he needs to make a winning play by making a shot, that's great. But for the most part, I think that the thing with Scottie is really it's like, all right, can I make this pass? Can I get this rebound? Can I make this steal? In the game yesterday, like I said, he was getting in the passing lane early. I love seeing that because in the absence of Gary, in some ways, Scottie was doing Gary stuff, like jumping in the passing lane and causing transition opportunities by just deflecting the ball, just being a nuisance. Like Scottie really was that dude for a while in the first quarter. He was very much messing things up for Washington on their offense. And I really appreciate that. That's the stuff, as Alvin said in the broadcast, that just doesn't show up in the box score. And that's the stuff that, listen, if you want to win as a team, you need guys that do that kind of stuff. And I think that in some ways, some people are misrepresenting the kind of all-star and great rookie of the year kind of guy Scottie Barnes is. Today's NBA world, it's all about scoring and how much you score and whether you get the ball all the time. Fuck all that shit. There's only one ball. And you can't give it to every single person. And it's much better if you have a great, talented superstar like Scottie, and he doesn't demand the ball all the time. In fact, that's smart. That's really, really smart because you can get good production off of him without even like feeding him the ball very often. So I was really, really happy with Scottie last night because he stuffed the stat sheet. He may only had 13 points, 5 of 14 shooting, but he had 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block. And that's a lot of good meaty stats in the middle there. And all those stats really, really do matter. So, yeah, I am really happy with Scottie. Looking at the bench for the Raptors last night, we did get to see some extended time with the end of the bench out there. And that's fantastic. We talked about Jeff already, 3 points in 19 minutes, but he was a plus 14. I really like that. Now, Precious made his return last night. He only got a little bit of spot duty with the regular rotation, and then he got garbage time late. But just good to see him out there running up and down the court. He is definitely a player that we need to get more out of and get him back, his minutes back up and his production back up like it's been most of the time since he's been a Raptor. So hopefully we can ramp Precious up more and more in the last few games of the regular season to be in a really good, productive place with our team in the rotation. Chris Boucher, fantastic once again, coming in off the bench, energy personified, 3 for 5 from the field, 7 rebounds, 6 points, a +10. Listen, if anybody's going to be mad at Chris Boucher for not scoring 10 points in that game, you go to hell, because I'm sick of this. And in some ways, it was interesting. I noticed in the game people talking to Chris, and I think maybe they saw his podcast or maybe they saw what he said about that, and they were being very like, I don't know what the word is, like sympathetic. I don't know if it's sympathetic or just kind of like they're coming to him and saying, "Man, that's some real shit," and thanks for talking about that. I saw in particular him talking to Curtis Blair, the referee, and before the game. And Curtis really had a nice discussion with him, and I could see that they were really bonding. Once again, I know Curtis Blair is a good ref because I seen him interact with Raptors last night in a very positive, happy way where they're smiling and joking and stuff. In particular with Chris and Fred VanVleet. But I also saw Fred hanging out with Courtney Kirkland last night, and they were getting along really well and sharing a smile and just going back and forth too. This is really good because we know that Fred is a little bit at odds with the refs just because of being outspoken recently. But we can see him bonding and talking to certain refs and showing that they are friendly and there is no hard feelings. And that's very, very important. In fact, Fred said after the game, this was really interesting because they were asking him about the play-in tournament. They're asking him about all kinds of stuff. He says, I don't really like the play-in tournament because I'm a traditionalist. I really do believe in how it was for a long time. And it annoys me that they changed the game this much like this, that in some ways he wishes the NBA could just statically be the way it is. But obviously there's going to be innovation and stuff. But it was really interesting how he was talking about the play-in and how it started. He said that it started in the bubble because of the pandemic. And it really, this is what Fred said exactly. He said they started the play-in to ensure that certain teams that they wanted to be involved in the postseason were involved. It's almost like they made extra spots to make sure that certain teams that they like to market and put out there, Golden Boy teams, had an extra chance to get in. That's how he sees it, that he thinks that they only started the play-in to help expand the field to allow some, I don't know, like the Lakers. I don't know what team it was at the time. I didn't pay as close attention as I should have. But that's what Fred believes. He said that they only started the play-in to help certain teams for marketing reasons get into the postseason and be on TV. That's interesting that he views it that way. Also, Freddie's saying that now that I've been outspoken about the refs, my words carry more weight and I have to watch out for what I say. That's what he said in the press conference last night. Now my words carry more weight because people are listening to me because of what I said before. So really good stuff from Freddie on those kind of things. Interesting to hear his opinion on the play-in. I mean, at this point, it kind of is it is good for us in a way because honestly, we're in the 9th spot. We wouldn't be in a traditional play-in spot as of right now, but we are tied with Atlanta, and they do have the tiebreaker, unfortunately, which puts us on the outside. So if the season started the old school way, we would be not making the we would not be making the postseason, even though we have the exact same record as the 8th seed, the Atlanta Hawks. So we do need to win more because we've got to get above the Hawks and get into that 8th seed to play the 7th seed. Now, just real quick, standings watch for tonight. Detroit is hosting the Bucks. That game doesn't really matter. Dallas is in Indiana. We'll have to see if Dallas can continue sliding and maybe Indiana does well in this game. I don't know. Houston is in New York. That game doesn't matter as much. Philly will be in Denver today. That's going to be a big battle. The MVP candidates up against each other. That should be very interesting. Chicago is once again playing today, and this is important because they're a half game behind us. And if they beat the Clippers tonight, like they beat the Lakers the night before, they will be tied with all 3 of us again. And then it'll be just a huge log jam with Atlanta, Toronto, and the Bulls having the exact same record in the 8th, 9th, and 10th seeds of the play-in. So that could actually happen tonight if the Bulls are able to defeat Kawhi and the Clippers tonight. So a little bit of your standings watch on things out there. More looking at the bench for the Raptors in the game. Good to see Ron Harper get out there and get a couple minutes of garbage time. Too bad he missed his only 3 that he took, but nice to see him get another NBA game under his belt. Koloko was great. He was very active. He was very annoying. He was deflecting. He was blocking. He caused all kinds of problems in 15 minutes, 3 steals and only 1 block officially. But I think they robbed him with some blocks there. I think he actually had like 3 or 4 blocks. If you really counted it, NBA scorekeepers, go back and watch the tape. I think you missed some there because 1 block doesn't seem about right for Christian Koloko. Malachi, 0 for 3 from 3-point range. That sucks. Malachi, you're getting your chances. Will got hurt, and you and Jeffrey are kind of competing to get that kind of trusted spot as a backup point guard off the bench. And now you're not taking that opportunity and missing shots again. That's too bad for you, man. This is what Jakob Poeltl said on Facebook after the game last night. 114 to 104 win against the Washington Wizards. We weren't able to maintain full concentration over the full 48 minutes, but got the job done. JP19, Toronto Raptors. You go, Jakob. Great stuff. And in Austrian, that is Sing gegen die Washington Wizards. Wir konnten zwar die Konzentration nicht über die Wollen 48 Minuten halten, haben unseren Job aber erledigt. Yeah, I just had to do it in Austrian too. Yeah, I'm still sick. All right, excuse me. All right, let's see. All right, Logical Raptors fanatic. Let's see what Mike is saying. Yeah, we were talking about the chat on the replay. Mike, it takes a little while for the YouTube people to transcribe it or do something with it. Maybe they check over it and make sure you guys aren't crazy. And they before they actually post it. I know if you miss me live and you watch me within like an hour after the stream's been posted, you won't see the live chat replay at least for maybe like 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes even later. They may not post it or transcribe it or put it on there until in the evening. It's annoying, but it's something to do it. I definitely mark the chat replay for when people view it later and keep all that stuff there. It's just that YouTube takes a little while to get it done. Mike saying, salute Real Ones, Project Truth Always, great win. Seeing the fruits of investing in OG's in-ball game earlier in the season. OG is more than just a 3-and-D. I checked the Raps tonight. Who hit the J? Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to watch Raptors tonight after this, see what they were saying last night. I want to rip them off with their takes. Yeah, I like what you're saying about OG. I think that in some ways, one of the things that's really different about OG, and especially last night and this year, is his mid-range. In some ways, he was like a 3-point shooter and like kind of like attack the rim, but he really is kind of stopping short and taking those 10 to 12 footers also. And he was mixing those up with 3-pointers last night in the beginning of the game in his 18-point first quarter. And it was really, really well done. I just think he's playing at a really super high level. He's enjoying himself. You can tell. Look at him out on the court. The dude is smiling. He's having a blast. Oh my gosh, he's having such a blast. Let's see. Jimmy saying big dubs. I know they let up in the third, but we dominated them when it mattered the most. The fourth. Let's go on to Miami. Woo! Yeah, Jimmy. I mean, listen, we were killing them. I hated how we let them back in, and I was starting to get a little worried. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we letting this happen? And it was like, all right, it was really good on the Wizards yesterday. Let's see. Well, Porzingis had 26 points. 9 of 17 shooting. So he was annoying. He can basically try and get shots whenever he wants to. Him hitting 4 threes was big. He was really crafty, and he shoots them so deep. Kispert was annoying. I predicted that Kispert might be the guy who steps up in the absence of Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma, and I was correct. 5 of 11 from 3, 7 of 16 from the field for Corey Kispert, 19 points. He's a scrappy guy. But once again, he's not the most athletic dude. And if you see him on the court with guys like Scottie Barnes, you're going to be like, yeah, that dude should be losing this game. Because look at him and look at him. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Avdia, he was really annoying. He was doing a couple good things there. He was like a glue guy for them on their side, getting nice assists, getting on the boards. and making shots here and there. 15 points for Denny Avdia. Yeah. And then Gafford wasn't as strong as he could have been. In some ways, that's good. And then the rookie, Johnny Davis, came into the game and he was putting in some work. 5 of 8 from Fields, 3 of 4 from 3, 15 points. It was funny watching Johnny Davis out there and Scottie. Listen, this is the thing. This is a Twitch story from last summer. Scottie was playing 2K23 and he'd buy a bunch of packs and open them up to get the cards out of the packs. And every single pack he would open would have a Johnny Davis card in it. He's like, how many freaking Johnny Davises am I going to get on this NBA 2K? And he's like, it's a scam. You pay so much money and get all these cards, and then you get like 12 duplicates of Johnny Davis, because that's about how many he got. I think he opened up all those packs and he had like 12 Johnny Davises at the end of like opening all the packs. It was pretty funny. I couldn't help but thinking about that last night when Johnny Davis was in the game hitting shots and Scottie was out there with him. I wonder if Scottie was thinking about getting all those Johnny Davises last summer. Of course, he used them in the game a couple times. He's kind of nice. He played him a bit in one of his lineups last summer. But yeah, I kept thinking about that when Johnny Davis was out there. He played really well for a rookie off the bench. Let's see. Leslie's here. Good morning, freaks. We had a good win game. I was worried that the horses were wandering out of the barn in the third, but they then all the horses are safe and sound. All right, that's good. All right. Oh man, yeah, I'm still sick. Yeah, I was a little worried in the third too. Like seriously, this season has been traumatic for like collapses and like last second losses and just weird shit happening in games where it's like it could be very deflating and like we have to be a little worried about that this season. But once again, we saw more of the old Raptors where they just take care of business and make sure nothing crazy happens like that. So yeah, it was what it was, and it really was a bad third quarter. Getting outscored 38-24, that's horrible. That's a 14-point swing. But they needed that because we had beat their butt so bad in the first half. So they were trying their hardest. In a lot of ways, I give Wes Unseld Jr. a lot of credit for getting his team ready for after the break to come out and jump on top of us in the third. Let's see. Evelyn's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Lex, I hope you're feeling better. We really needed that W, and the boys delivered, eh? Let's go, Raptors. You go, Granny Evelyn. Thank you. And yeah, I'm trying to feel better. I feel better a little bit than yesterday, but I am still congested and a little bit of sore throat and coughing and sneezing and stuff like that, as you have just seen. So, yeah, hopefully I'll rest some more today and I'll be fine. And then tomorrow, Adrian and I are going to the Miami game. So hopefully I'll feel way better tomorrow. But definitely today, I'm going to be taking it easy and trying to like get 100% so for tomorrow. So, but it's good to see you, Evelyn, as always. Evelyn's just the best, y'all. Granny Evelyn is the best. Bradley's saying OG and Barnes going back and forth with each other was nice to see. They were having a dunk contest. Yeah, this was fun. Sky got that breakaway, and he ended up doing like an improvised 360 in the middle of the game. And Nick Nurse didn't see it. He said in the press conference, he said, oh, he looked away for a second, and he saw he got it, right? And they're like, yeah, he did a 360. He's like, what? He did a 360? And then he looked up and watched the replay and saw for sure, yep, Scottie did a 360. And in some ways, that's Scott's natural tendency to want to turn around and look at the opponent as he's going to go dunk it, which is so fundamentally dangerous and crazy. But if you're going to do it, might as well do it within the dunk and turn around and look at them in the air and do it and finish it. It was a really impressive dunk. In fact, OG, after the game, was talking about it. He said, that was the best dunk of the game. No, not mine. No, I think his dunk was better. And then he even admitted that he thinks Scottie's the best dunker on the team. He was just being nice. In some ways, OG, your dunks have been absolutely incredible in the last few months. So I don't know how I can't judge that in the same way as you, but OG's just being humble and saying, yeah, Scottie's dunks are better. He's being so humble. Callie's here. Good to see Callie Mayer. I'm sure her stress meter went up a little bit at the end of the third quarter, but it was all fine as the middle of the fourth kept going. I keep saying pass it to OG. He's shooting lights out right now. Yeah, and this is the thing. People don't understand this. They want to paint our team as selfish. They want to paint Pascal as selfish and Fred as selfish. But in reality, what we're doing is we're finding the hot hands and we're feeding it. If Gary's in and he has a hot hand, we feed him. We get the ball to him. And we did do that last night with OG. Now, some people will say, oh, we didn't find him in the middle of the game, and we didn't find him here and there. Well, listen, in some ways, it has to do with the natural flow of the game. In some ways, it's like, but they are looking for people that they know have the hot hand. And everybody doesn't understand like the flow of the game and how a basketball game can work in those kind of ways. It's not like you can just go to him every single time. But I'm with you. I think that they did a good job of finding him early, and maybe they could have found him a little bit more often in the middle, but who knows? I think that they were just trying to, like, in some ways, once again, we just want that equal balance and, attacking with different people at different times and just all that kind of stuff. As long as we win, it doesn't matter who's taking the shots or how many. We just got to make shots, shoot better than we miss, and we'll win, and that's all that matters. But yeah, I did love seeing him get the ball a lot early because they definitely fed him in the first quarter. He was definitely getting the ball like served up to him on a platter, left and right. MSJ saying Dowtin plus 14, Flynn minus 10 in a win. Make the move, head office. Is it possible to keep Dowtin and waive Flynn at this point so Dowtin can play in the playoffs? Wow, that's a big move. I mean, in some ways, like, I don't know. I think that Malachi is very valuable right now in some ways. Like, we may need him. And I don't know if I want to get rid of him. I'd be more likely to say let's drop Will Barton and in this situation than do it with Flynn, because in some ways I can see Flynn being more valuable and useful just because he really knows our system and he's Fred's understudy. I don't know. Whatever they do with this, we just got to trust Masai. We'll have to see what Jeffrey Dowtin Jr.'s fate will be by the end of the season. Troy Henry saying, I think we're going to cut it even for the season. There's a slim chance we might go one over. I think we're going to cut it even. Oh, yeah. I hope so too, Troy. I'm trying to forecast this with our last games and trying to figure this out. Now, one of the things I was telling myself this morning is like, if we can split the Boston games, that's a pretty good accomplishment. I think beating Boston twice on their home court is highly unlikely. I don't think that they'd allow that, even if they're doing load management or things like that. But if we can get a split against the Celtics in their home court in one of those last games, that could be really good. I think the biggest key game, all right, taking care of Charlotte will be important too. Like if we can get them both games on their home court, that'll be huge. And that's very doable. But then after that, like this Miami and this Philly game this week, these are important games. Like when we go to Philadelphia on, I guess we're going there on Thursday or Friday. We're going there on Friday. When we go to Philadelphia on Friday, that is a big game. That is a really, really big game. Like that's a test. And that could be a statement kind of game because there's a possibility we may have to face the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round after a play-in. There's stuff from last year. So that game, in some ways, holy crap, we can make a real statement if we can mess up the Sixers on Friday night. So I'm excited about that one. I think Troy's right, though. If we can get 500 or even get one game above 500, I'm going to say this season's a success. Considering all the ups and downs, all the different things we've had go wrong, the fact that we didn't give up, the fact that we didn't turn on each other, the fact that we didn't get worse and worse and spiral out of control into a bad place, we kept fighting and kept pushing ourselves up. In fact, that in some ways, that's the difference between us being Detroit and being who we are right now, is that we didn't give up. We continue to fight, and that's why we do have a chance to get a 500 record still by the end of the season, maybe even possibly a winning record. And I think that's a huge success. If we finish up 500 or one game above 500, I'm going to be very impressed with this Raptor team because in some ways they had everything dealt the wrong way. They had a really bad hand dealt to them this whole season. They really, really did. Trevor's here. Good to see Trevor J. Good morning. Good win last night. We got this. We're going to do it again. Win some more. Yeah. I want to beat Miami tomorrow. Last year I went to the Miami game when Kyle Lowry returned, and it was a big homecoming. We made a big deal out of him. We got everybody all excited. He schmaltzed us, and then he stole the game from us and kicked our ass. Well, none of this Kyle Lowry love fest tomorrow. We seen you, Kyle. You've come back. Hi, good to see you again, bro. But nah, this time we ain't gonna let you con artist us. Come into the building with a smile and say, "Hi, I'm back, guys. Oh, it's just like how I remember it. Hey, let's go see the equipment manager in his office and say, hey, it's Kyle. Yeah, I used to hang out in here all the time with you guys. And yeah, you remember me? I'm in Miami now. Oh, good to see you, Kyle. We love you. We miss you. Yeah, I'm going to steal this game from you today. And you don't even realize it. It was kind of like that. It's like, yeah, show them the accolades, show them the love, adulation of the Raptors crowd. And then like him come in and steal that game from us, just like a vet would. Well, we can't have that this year. I'm not going to be all about warm and fuzzy feelings for Kyle tomorrow. We coming to kill him tomorrow night. And that's what Fred said. He's like, he wants to beat Kyle's ass this year. He's like, he's been getting along too long with coming here and beating us in front of our home crowd. We're okay with it because it's Kyle Lowry. No. Tomorrow, we got to beat them. And in some ways, the Raptors are already signaling that they're really going to be up for this game because of Kyle Lowry be coming back, and they know how important this game is. And once again, like I said, in some ways you can smell weakness on the Miami Heat because they have a bit of dysfunction with their team dynamic, with some of the personalities on their team right now. So this will be very interesting. I'm all about beating the Miami Heat tomorrow. All right, let's see. Nameless is saying, okay, this is a weird one. I saw this yesterday, and this is ridiculous. Once again, people are just putting out shit just to put shit out. Nameless is saying there's a real rumbling about Udoka to Toronto should things falter with Nick. Any thoughts about it, especially with the Nigerian connection? That's an interesting point. And yeah, I didn't think about that, but I don't think that that's how it'll work. Once again, I think that people in the States make shit up, and they really don't understand the real nuts and bolts of the reality of the situation. First of all, Nick is not going anywhere. He's not in trouble. I don't know why people think he's in trouble. I think that in some ways that's wishful thinking by somebody who ever said that down south. Now, they said two teams. They said the Raptors and the Rockets. And like, have either team signaled that they're unhappy with their coach? No. So it's just made up bullshit. And they want to float that. Now, it's funny that they don't say that Udoka is just going back to the Celtics next season. Can he coach in the league? Well, why didn't Boston just keep their guy? Isn't that what they want? I mean, listen, we know that Masai runs his company with a lot of women in the organization, and that, he ain't going to be having no toxic ass Udoka run around with the way he's been, unless he's got rehabilitation. He says he's fine and he's not going to be like what he was doing before. Maybe, but I don't think that's true. I don't think it'll be like that. And I think in a lot of ways, the Raptors organization wouldn't take the chance on him. Just because they have a country connection doesn't mean that Masai is interested in him in any kind of way. In fact, I would say that the way he values women in his organization would be like, I don't want to signal to the women that already work here that I don't care about them, that I'm going to bring in somebody toxic like this. And this is part of the problem that Udoka is going to have trying to get a coaching job back in the league, is he's going to find that some people are just going to be like, yeah, you're a headache and we don't even want to go there, because it would signal something really bad for the women in the organization, the Toronto Raptors, if Masai turned around and hired him. So don't hold your breath on this one. First of all, Nick's not in trouble. He's not going to lose his job. And then us replacing him with this guy, yeah, I don't know who writes this shit. I really don't know who writes this shit. It's absolutely they don't understand what's going on north of the border. They just pay attention down there. We're paying attention up here, and this doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like, we know what the Raptors organizations run like and what they value. And Ime Udoka and what he stands for has nothing to do with what we value as a franchise. So yeah, it's hot air. It's bullshit. Let's see. Monique saying, good morning. So thrilled with yesterday. Win 3 stars of the game, Fred, Poeltl, and OG. Bonus, great coaching by Nick. Ooh, I like that Monique mentioned that. Same 3 stars I had also, Monique, for the game. I thought that those 3 guys were great. But thank you for mentioning Coach Nurse, and especially after the last answer that I did with Nameless. Listen, Nick has done he's either had it or hasn't had it with the rotation recently. We know he didn't have it against the Pacers the other day and made some costly rotational errors that really kind of messed us up for the game. Well, in some ways, he's fixed that in the last 2 games. He's very much being more experimental. He's bringing guys in. He's finding the right balance of bench with starters. He's finding really cool different combinations of guys out there. I like there's once again in games recently, we've seen him put guys out on the court, and you're like, wow, that's a cool 5. Like you watch the game and you'd be like, holy cow, that's a really cool 5 people out there. It'd be like Scottie, Precious, Koloko, and Jeff Dowtin with Fred or something like that. And you'd be like, whoa, that's actually a really good looking unit out there. And I agree with you, Monique. I think the Knicks done a really good job with the minutes and who's rotating in and out when and where in the last 2 games. And they've shown good W's because of it. And it's funny, Nick was joking around with Lindsey Dunn after the game in the press conference saying, did I play Siakam less minutes? Are you happy with that, Lindsey, that I did that? Because Lindsey was kind of being the minutes police to him in the game against Detroit. Once again, he had to play Siakam longer because the refs didn't give a stoppage of play to let him get him out of there. So in some ways, that wasn't his fault. But Siakam only had 34 minutes last night, kept him under 35, and Lindsey was happy. And in fact, she was tweeting about how she influences an NBA coach now. She's like feeling powerful because he did what she said. That's funny. All right, let's see. Mike's saying the guy that hit the bucket was wearing the Ibaka jersey. Someone here said it was them. I can't remember who it was, but I wanted to throw them a compliment on the shooting form and actually hitting. And you talking about like two games ago or the game for Indiana? There was an Ibaka jersey guy who was on the show. I don't know who you're talking about, Mike. You're kind of just out of the blue with this. I know you're talking about Raptors tonight, but I don't know which show. Or like the Ibaka guy was at the Indiana one when we were there and we were in the background. You could see me in the background on that Raptors tonight behind Randy Urban's shoulder in the red Scottie Barnes jersey. Space Cadet saying people blaming Fred for that third quarter near collapse are crazy. The entire team stopped playing team basketball. It wasn't just him. Yeah, they're trying to blame Fred for everything. Once again, people are crazy and they pick things apart. People are going after Siakam. They're just stupid. Just stop, y'all. We got the win. These guys played well together. They're happy. Very good things happen all together. That third quarter was really more because of Wes Unseld than the Raptors. In some ways, we were lackadaisical and they jumped on it. But it really was him motivating his team to come back out there after the half and try and get the game back closer. And they were successful. Maybe we were a little lackadaisical, but how can you pinpoint just one guy for this? And people that are trying to do that kind of stuff, just stop, please. Just stop with your hate and your dumbassery. Let's see. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. My favorite OG represented. Wow. Steady Freddie as well. Amazing. Great team effort. And the Hawks lost. Woohoo. Woohoo. Yeah, Memphis took care of business against them last night. That was fantastic. Thank you, Grizzlies, for taking care of business against them. That was a big help to us. Yeah, I was really happy with OG last night. Fred was great. Listen, once again, any Raptors people or people in the nation, they're complaining about us winning last night and picking apart something this or that. Just shut up. Just shut up. This isn't the season for this. We get a win. Let's just allow our nation to enjoy it. And y'all can just use your criticism when we lose again. How about that? Anybody who criticizes things after a win, you're idiots. And I'm sick of y'all. Just go away. Go away. Stop it. G saying Space Cadet. I am convinced some people have lost their minds and are obsessed with Fred at this point. Imagine watching a game and just staring at what one player does and doesn't do and ignore everything else. Yeah, they really are. Alvin talked about this on the broadcast last night. Alvin Williams, once again, is hitting out of the ballpark with just his observations and teaching of what he's doing on the game. And what he said last night about Fred was really good. He said that some people don't like Fred because they think that he's cocky. They said that he comes off as cocky to them, but they don't understand that part of what he needed to be who he is, to where he is as an undrafted guy that nobody believed in for so long, his whole entire life, is to be this guy, that he has to have a certain swagger. And Alvin said what he would tell his children and a young player is try to be like Fred. He's a great role model. He's a great person to try and be like with that swagger and that confidence. And people see that confidence and maybe they don't feel like he deserves it. And it insults them. They're like, oh, I hate him because he's so confident. And maybe I'm not confident. And that's why I hate Fred so much. Because in some ways, he's something that I wish I could be. I'm 5'10 too. I wish I could play in the NBA, but I'm not confident enough or I'm not good enough. So I hate on him and I judge him and all this stuff. But I love what Alvin said. He's like, look, young players, if you want to be looking up to somebody, look up to Fred VanVleet because he has the right swagger and the right confidence. And this is the thing. His arrogance is not arrogance that is undeserved or something that, he shouldn't be able to do because he can walk the walk. And that's the whole thing that's different, y'all. Listen, you don't determine or decide how somebody else should be just because he shows a deficiency in yourself, Fred haters. And that's what I'm sick of with y'all. I think that he just shows something that's like he has a confidence that you wish you had. And that's why you hate him so much, Fred haters. I really do believe that at this point. I mean, doesn't that make sense? That somebody would hate somebody because they have something that they don't have? And that is exactly what he has that they don't like. That's why they want to knock him down a peg and say, oh, you shouldn't be so brash or cocky, Fred. How do you deserve that? Well, did you see fucking Wichita State in the Final Four way back? That odyssey that Cinderella team went on? Did you see him make our team through the 905 as an undrafted player busting his butt? Were you around when that happened? No, you weren't, all you Fred haters. You weren't paying close enough attention to the team to see him on 905 and see how he was the third, fourth guard on our team, point guard. And we made him go through the ringer and he made it through and got to where he is now. Like, y'all weren't around when Fred was on 905. Y'all weren't around when he was scrambling and scratching and clawing to make it on the Raptors roster. And anybody who, if you were around then and you're still talking like this, then you just don't respect the journey and the work that he's done. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear any criticism about Fred VanVleet unless you watched him in G League. I don't want to hear any disrespect towards Fred VanVleet unless you watched him at Wichita State. I don't want to hear any disrespect towards Fred if you don't understand how the hell he got on the Raptors in the first place. Because you have no fucking bearing of reality and understanding who the fuck he is until you go and look at those three things that I just said. And that is my thing for the Fred haters this morning. There you go. Go check out his Wichita State. Go check out his 905 and go check out how the hell he actually made it on the Raptors. And then put some respect on his name. God damn it. I'm so sick of you haters. All year you've been on his ass. All year. Monique is saying, good crowd on hand. Did anyone see me on Sportsnet after the game, post game? No, you were on the game after the game? Wow, that's awesome, Monique. No, I didn't see it. Of course, I watch on a stream and they cut away and do all kinds of weird stuff. But you go, Monique, getting you more TV time. As always, we love seeing you on the television. Seymour saying, whoever did Scottie and OG's hair, hook me up. I need that juice too. Them dudes had an extra pep in their step. Yeah. Seymour needs to know who the hairstylist or who's twisting their hair up for them. Come on. Who is it? Let him know. He needs the help. He wants to get that twist power himself in his everyday life. He's like getting these guys up to go. I was so happy to see them play, honestly. I wasn't sure about Scottie and Precious. Of course, Gary didn't play still. But, man, I was so happy to see Scott get out there. In fact, he's the one who's played the most games as a Raptor this season. He's only missed like 5 games, and that's like pretty good compared to everybody else. So in some ways, I'm really proud to see him back and playing well. I want to see him back and just playing strong. Yeah, I don't know, Seymour. We'll have to find out. We'll have to find out. The girl who made the jacket for Gary Trent Jr. is getting put on blast like crazy. She's just a designer. She just made that for him, like just for fun. And he wore it to the game. And now she's getting put on blast and getting all these people asking her to make them a jacket now. You go, lady who made the jacket for Gary the other night. Yeah, now you know the power of being put on display in front of millions of people around the world. Everybody wants your stuff. Let's see. G saying OG and wait, hang on. Here we go. Sheer constant. I just can't accept Scottie Pascal argument over talking heads. Other talking heads make. Scottie is Robin to Pascal's Batman. Look at Tatum and Brown. Scottie can score through the first 3 quarters, and Scottie can finish the fourth. This is the thing that everybody doesn't want our team to be stacked. And that's why they say, oh, we can only have one superstar. It used to be back in the day, you can only have Vince. You can't have Tracy too. You can't have this. You can't have that. When Bosch was here, no, you can't have more than one superstar on your team. But other teams could. Like the Celtics could go build a big three and get a championship. Miami could go build a super team and get a championship. But a team like Toronto, hell no, you can't ever have a super team and have too much talent, too many good guys, because we'll determine that, like, oh, you have too many good guys and they can't all coexist in the same damn place. What the fuck kind of logic is that? I'm sick of American broadcasters telling us that we got too many good players and some of them have to leave. Y'all don't know jack shit about what we're doing up here. So you go ahead and just focus on your shit down south. Let us do what we're doing with Masai and Bobby and team building. And just don't worry about us, because honestly, a lot of the opinions are uneducated when you do start talking about this. Scottie is a complimentary player. He's like a Jason Kidd. He's like a Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson wasn't necessarily the leading scorer for the Lakers. James Worthy or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was. Do you think that Magic couldn't play with James Worthy? Seriously, you stupid ass American people down there, like Drew Gooden, thinking that Scottie can't coexist with Pascal. You think that Magic Johnson can't coexist with James Worthy? Because that's basically who these two guys are in this situation. That Magic is Scottie and James Worthy is Pascal. And you're going to tell me that Magic Johnson couldn't coexist with James Worthy? Yeah, you're an idiot. Drew Gooden, you're a stupid idiot. G-San, OG in his interview said it's a game of runs and that they expected them to fight back. He had the biggest smile and he went into more depth about the game. OG's smiling so much these days. It's just heartwarming. I love it. Yeah, it's always a game of runs. And you can beat that team down for a while, but they will try and come back up at you. And they did in the third quarter. But we withstood it and took care of business and got that W. And that's all that matters, Raptors Nation. Stop trying to pick apart stupid shit that's dumb that you don't need to. We'll win. We won. We got a 2-game winning streak. What is there not to like right now? Jeez. Space Cadet saying, gee, what do you expect when bitter people create YouTube channels for the sole purpose of micro-analyzing his game? It creates a culture of toxicity. Yeah, I'm really worried about how things are going in the trends. That's why I'm like, damn, I really do need to do my channel, because I may be like the opposite of what they're doing in a lot of ways. And there's more and more of this bullshit. The stuff that Chris talks about on Hustle Play recently with the betting is really ugly and scary. And I'm wondering about all these different forces and how they, it may be harder than ever to be a professional athlete, because your scrutiny and your access that people have to you is just worse than ever. And in some ways, it's like, if I was an athlete, I might be like Kawhi and just not have anything and just not even be involved in that world. Just really stay in my bubble and my people and the things that I matter about to me, and just work and keep focused on basketball and don't listen to any of the noise, because it's just more and more toxic. And just people that just have no idea anything about anything, just espousing whatever off the top of their head that doesn't even freaking make sense half the time. But yeah, I get this, Space Cadet, and I'm sick of it. If I was a player, I wouldn't have social media at this point. I may have one that I could really control, and I would really be interacting with the people that I cared about in my inner circle, and maybe some of the limited with the fans. But otherwise, I wouldn't be on YouTube trying to watch content. I wouldn't be on Twitter reading all these out-of-pocket, stupid-ass opinions people are writing on Twitter. I wouldn't be doing any of that. I wouldn't if I was in a professional sports team right now. Omari's here. Good to see Omari Parsons. Good morning, freaks. You know what? Since Omari's here, I want to check out the standings for our fantasy football league, Raptor Freak Fantasy Football League, Fantasy Basketball League on Yahoo. And it looks like Tom Duke has lost the top spot, and Duke Rocks is up by 3 points now at this point, closing out the season. It looks like it may be Duke Rocks to win now, with the Saborans and Omari kind of on the outside, and maybe could come in and steal it at the end. I don't know. Right now it's Duke Rocks getting the Vince Carter signed Tar Heels jersey, the winner of the Yahoo Fantasy League, not Tom Duke. I'm really shocked by this. Tom was doing so well all season. Well, we'll have to see how this closes out and who's going to be getting that jersey sent to them very soon. Good morning. Good to see you, Omari. Fiercely saying Scottie's presence was definitely impactful. Love his energy. Welcome back, Scottie. Hoping Will Barton is okay. Boucher's game, fire. I like Dowtin's game as well. Yeah, those guys were great off the bench. I hope that Will's okay too. I think he just twisted his ankle. He looked like, I mean, he didn't look like he was getting up and down the court very well. And he really was signaling to come out. And they took a little bit to do it, but Fred finally called the timeout. I don't get this in the NBA anymore. Can y'all have injury timeouts to get an injured player out? In some ways, these guys are $1 million commodities as far as like they have $1 million contracts. And what if they got even more hurt because you continue to play without a whistle and they're like trying to guard and still kind of keep up with guys, even though they're already hurt? There was a little bit of that where the Wizards were coming back down and he's trying to guard somebody and he's already twisted his ankle. You can make it worse. So in some ways, it's like you guys need to pay attention to when a player is like really hurt and they are actually signaling to the bench. It's like, I want to come out. And in some ways, I don't see that happen. And I don't want anybody to get hurt further because they try still, even though they're already hurt. And that was weird to me. It's like, you should get him out right now, right away. Yeah, Jeffrey and Chris really good off the bench. And Scottie definitely has a presence that is impactful, that does all different kinds of things on the court. And that's why his stats are so balanced across. Like, this is why he has this amount of points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And he's in a certain category with certain all-around great players in the NBA, like Luka Doncic, for this point in his career, accumulating the stats. And the other thing is, this is an interesting stat about the Raptors. They have the most players in the league that have scored 1,000 points, meaning we have 5 players on our team that have all scored 1,000 points this season. And no other NBA team has 5 players that have scored that many points. So once again, we see the balance with our starting lineup where they all average over 15 points a game, just like they did last year. And we have all of them scoring 1,000 points total for the season, like more than 1,000 points at least total for the season. So good stuff, good balance on our team. Hate that, Drew Gooden. That's maybe why you want us to split up Siakam and Barnes, because you hate our balance. Monique is saying a healthy team, nothing better than that. Let's go. That dunk by Scottie. Good Lord, keep it up. Good to see both Scottie and Precious back. What a time. Yeah, we need the Precious to ramp up and be more contributing and hopefully get more minutes in the rotation because he's playing very well. And Scottie's is really good to see him back just in general. Leslie's saying, I was a little bit worried that Fred was going to get fined again. We know the teams he's talking about, big market. Yeah, I don't know if you can get fined for that. This is something that happened a few years ago. And it's not really being critical. It's just kind of like talking about the NBA and its big marketing machine. But yeah, it was interesting that he said that. I've never heard him say something like that about that before. But very interesting that he has that view that they made the play in to help a big market team be in the postseason in the bubble and for viewership. And I don't remember who it was. Maybe you all can remind me. What team was that they helped? I'm trying to remember. Logical saying, Superfan Mo, were you by the exit tunnel when Fred walks out? I think Monique is just in the veranda, just above where they walk out, is where she normally sits. Not too far from there. I don't know. You might have to see if you can find her, Mike, on your replay or something. Did you guys ever find Tom Duke from Indiana the other day? That's something I'm wondering about too. Okay, let's see. Cowboys saying, my lady said to take the day off because she's about to pop. So I said, sure, I'll take it off. Watch the Lex and chill out with the Raptor freaks. Well, I take care of my peppers. Okay, so this guy's actually off work today because his lady's about to have another baby. So he's like gonna hang out and not work today just in case he's got to run to the hospital with her. So meanwhile, he's gonna listen to us and take care of his peppers. All right, hang on, man. I'm really getting it. Okay, G saying Koloko's caption was, the grass is greener where you water it. Should make Raptors fans feel great. Shows he wants to be here. That's good. I didn't see that post. Koloko's fun. He's very active on Instagram. He likes all of his teammates' stuff a lot, especially Siakam. If Siakam posts something, you will see Christian likes it for the most part. But yeah, Koloko's had a good season. Honestly, he's gotten better over the year. He's gotten some good work down at 905. I feel like he's more confident. I feel like he doesn't make as many mistakes as he did in the first couple months of the season. So his journey this season has been very like good with his development. And I'm excited to see how his summer goes this summer and to also see what kind of role he carves out in training camp for possibly him on the main roster Raptors this season coming up. So all kinds of good things about Koloko this season. I'm very happy with what's happened with him as a second round pick last year in the draft. He's been fantastic for us. Jimmy's saying, as of now, Scottie is definitely lower on the pecking order. But with a pick like him, you can't keep him there forever. But at the end of the day, it's up to him to show that he's that guy in due time. I think this is part of what people aren't realizing about Scottie. They want him to shoot so much and they want him to take over and score, but that's not actually who his personality is. He's very much a facilitator and a passer. And in some ways, his personality and the way he looks at the game doesn't jive with what these people are projecting on what they think he should be and who he should be. And I think that's the biggest disconnect is these people don't actually know who Scottie is and that they don't realize, sure, he could be our number one scorer and a 30-point scorer in this league, but that's not necessarily his motivation. His motivation is to be the best all-around player and a winning player, and that he wants to be a winner. And maybe him having the ball over and over again and shooting a lot like Siakam does doesn't translate to the kind of winning formula that would be better if he's doing what he's doing now. And I think that a lot of like casual basketball fans that just look at scoring and think this and this and this don't realize this about Scottie, that he very much is a throwback. He's not like the new era where you guys want like 25 points and all the scores. He's only worried about his own stats. He doesn't care about his own stats. If he cared more about his own stats, maybe he would be more aggressive and build on top of them. He cares about winning. He cares about making the next winning play. And it isn't about him being selfish and getting as many shots as Pascal or being the leading scorer like some people want. So I like what Jimmy's saying here. In some ways, he's right. Like on the pecking order, he's lower right now, but that doesn't mean he'll always be. And in fact, there may be a period of time where things change with our roster construction where Scottie does become the man. But for now, in some ways, you want him to be able to be a glue guy, all around good guy that does so many different things for your team and it doesn't necessarily have to do with scoring over and over again. The Siakam's very good at that in a lot of ways. And then Scottie's role is a different one. And it's just that idiots don't accept what his role is. Scottie accepts what his role is. He's very happy. He just wants to win. And I think that a lot of people project their own needs and wants for what they think that he wants or that they would think that they would want if they were him, and they don't actually know him. They don't actually know what makes him tick or what he cares about. In fact, you saw it on the breaks last night. When he's in transition, he's not trying to take it himself. He wants to give it up to the other guy and get the assist. Y'all don't understand that he cares more about an assist than making baskets. And I think that that's the problem and the disconnect with some of these fans that are so Scottie. He loves assists. He's not necessarily all about him scoring over and over again like Siakam does. And they need to realize that. Yeah. Mike's saying 2K packs are a scam. That's what he was saying the whole time he's opened those packs. He'd open it up. Oh, Johnny Davis again. Johnny Davis again. And the commenters would be like us in the chat would be like, what a scam. You're ripping you off. You give you the same card, like 12 of them. And Scottie's like, at the end of it, he's like, yeah, this is a scam. He admitted himself. He said, this is a scam. It's so funny when I heard him say that. Shir Khan saying, people were always saying how Siakam can score, but can he be the final shot taker at the end of games? Well, now we have Scottie as a backup in case Pascal is not feeling it. 1-2 punch combo. Yeah. Yeah, listen, in some ways, I do believe that Siakam is great for scoring throughout most of the game, getting us a good ton of production and points. But at the end of the game, he may not be that guy. And in some ways, I think Scottie could be more that guy. And I have no problem with that. He can be that glue guy, that assist guy I just described, but then show up at big time and hit big shots right at the end to take us home. You know, there's no real clear-cut template for how exactly a basketball team's supposed to be with their roles and everything. And I think that's the thing that's wrong with people when they judge the Raptors is that we're a little unorthodox. We're a little crazy with our roster construction, and it allows for us to be very different in some ways. And people just don't get it. You don't get it, you don't get it. That's fine. You don't have to get it. We're going to figure this out. We're going to make it work, and it's going to be dominant once we do finally get it to click again. So I don't care if other people don't understand what the Raptors are doing. You don't have to, because we're just going to beat your ass. And we can understand it and fine tune it and hone it, and we'll be fine. We don't have to tell y'all why we're doing this or what we're doing. And you don't have to understand it. Just know that we're going to beat your ass, is what I'll say. Listen, if it's not Pascal, it could be Gary, it could be Freddie, it could be OG, it could be Scottie. Any of those guys can shoot big shots at the end of the game and take us home. I like that versatility. I don't like having just Lou Williams is going to take the big shot at the end of the game, like a few years ago with the Raptors. Every single big shot at the end of the game, they knew Coach Casey was going to give the ball to Lou Williams, and he was going to take a big buzzer beater at the end to try and win the game for us. The other team knew. We got to keep them guessing. And in some ways, when we keep going to Siakam late in the game, that's not keeping them guessing. And I'd much rather go to like OG or Fred or Gary or Scottie at the end in some ways. Seymour saying, I like the Pascal Fred combo, but the OG Scottie combo has so much chip potential. Yeah. Those guys are all around great players. They're studs. They can do anything on the court. They're like Scottie Pippins. They're like modern day Scottie Pippins. They can do absolutely everything that you need to do on an NBA court. These guys, and that's why we like them. They're all purpose. They're Marios, like from the Super Mario Brothers game. He is an all-around average good player, and that's why we like him. Monique is saying, Fred's comments on the play-in were interesting to me. Give Savannah encouragement on Sondline reporting yesterday. Give her encouragement? She's doing fine. She's gotten better. She was a little, like Alvin's first season and commentary. There's rough spots. There's stuff where they lose their concentration or they stumble over words or they say things a little weird. But I've thought that Savannah's been very strong for the most part this season. She's gotten better and better as the season's gone on. And she's great. And hopefully she'll continue to do that job and get better and better and better and better. I think she will. Fiercely saying, dunk specialists on our team, OG, Boucher, Scottie, Precious, Spicy P, and Jakob are pretty nice as well. Yeah, these guys are getting some good highlight dunks this season. Well, I'm going to be really curious to see the Raptors highlights for dunks all season long, that reel. There's so many good dunks. I've probably forgotten about a bunch of them. And it'd be really fun to watch them all in a row at the end of the season. It'd be really good. Who knows if Paul's going to do that again this season? Paul B did it last year where he took all the best dunks for us last year and put them all on one reel. Maybe he'll do it again this year. I don't know. Maybe he's already been working on it. I don't know. Monique is saying third quarter was meh indeed. Yeah, it was a tough quarter. Raptors did what they could and withstood it. Could have played better, but it is what it is. Seymour saying, what's the chances Logical and NBA Chev drop videos at 9:30 a.m. at the same exact time? Plus, that's Raptor Freak start time. Chev, are you in here under a burner account? Did they drop stuff? I didn't see Mike's dropped something this morning. Let's see. Observant viewers of my last two videos would have picked up in the Nick hiring headline in 2013. It said Nick is being brought in to change the offensive system. People need to know that fact. Nick W. Okay. I'm not sure if you're answering Seymour. Hey, whatever. They can drop stuff. I'm live. And you guys get to talk to me directly. They're just dropping stuff. I mean, it'd be weird if Chev did a live stream and he talked to commenters and stuff like that. Has he ever done anything like that? I don't know. It's not an easy thing to do necessarily because you got to keep things moving and you kind of got to do two things at once to a degree. In some ways, my brain is very trained to do this kind of stuff. And not the average person can do exactly like a live stream like this. I mean, I watched Bo of the Fifth Column do a live stream and he struggles with it because there's so many comments and he has such a hard time dealing with it all. Maybe because he has so many comments, but he really, really has a hard time making it smooth. Let's see. Fiercely saying Charlotte has been pretty good recently. Too bad they woke up late, i.e. no longer in playoff contention. Well, I don't want them to be dangerous or anything like that. LaMelo's out. Right? He's still hurt, right? I don't know. I'll do all the work and see when we get to them next week. But we still have 2 games before Charlotte, Miami, and Philly. And then we'll see what's going on with them next week when we're going to go see them. But, yeah, I don't want to see that they're playing better recently. I know they have won some games that they shouldn't have won. I've seen some games that they won that they shouldn't have won. The other team was probably upset. Trevor's saying, we're going to give Larry his birthday present tomorrow. night kicking Miami's ass. We're going to give Lowry. You mean Lowry, Larry. Kyle Lowry, his birthday present from Saturday. Yeah. Yeah. Let's kick his butt. I'm with that, Trevor. I like that. Monique saying Chris Boucher was incredible off the bench. Absolutely incredible. Yes, Chris has just been awesome. He's having a really good weekend with his open gym and his hustle play, his newest hustle play. MSJ saying, well, I do hope Dowtin can be brought into the playoff mix somehow. I feel he can actually run an offense. Yeah, it's just the rules with the two-way. It's unfortunate. Like we converted Uda last year, right? We converted him to two-way, and it made sense in the way we did it. But this year, I don't know why they're not doing this. And some people will be very upset about this. They're like, "Why didn't you convert him? Why didn't you convert him?" Well, I don't know. Like we don't know. We just don't know why they do or they don't do things. We don't know all aspects of what's going on. Fiercely saying no to Udoka, no potential drama, please, and thank you. I don't follow other fan bases, but it's odd people keep doubting Nick Nurse's job status when other teams have horrific records like the Pistons and the Rockets, etc. Well, once again, this is a similar thing, just like with any of these guys, with his OG, Fred, Pascal, Scottie, Nick, Masai. They like our things, and in some ways, they see what we have and they want to bust it up in any which way they can. And they think that Nick's in trouble because of the record this year, and then they want to try and pull that apart. Well, they don't really know what's going on. It's like they think OG's unhappy, or they think that Scottie can't coexist with Pascal. They just make up narratives that have nothing to do with the reality of what's going on the ground level with what's going on with this team, in the hopes that they could somehow, with the perception, bust up the team. But Masai and Bobby are smarter than this. They don't even listen to the noise for the most part. I think that they talked to them recently about this, or Dan Tolzman told us that basically the front office, they know there's a lot of noise, but they don't look at it. They don't care. They don't care what these fans think about Fred or Scottie or this. They don't care. They know what they're doing and they have their own plan. And that's all that matters, is like what they're doing, talking to the guys and figuring out and saying what this. And if they listen to the fans or the US media about what they think we should do with our team, yeah, we'd be the New York Knicks. And we're not that. We're way smarter, and we have a captain steering the ship. His name is Masai Ujiri, and Bobby Webster is his first mate. And that's what I'm saying. These guys know what they're doing, and they're not listening to the noise. Thank God. Thank God. All right, Cowboys saying, even if we get knocked out the playoffs in the play-in or first round, I'll still be proud of this team. I still believe we can win it all. I think any team would have problems playing the best of 7. One of the things yesterday that was cool with Scottie out there again is we look really dominant. We look like a really, really badass team once again. We look so good and with so many weapons and just like so many like good things going for us with different players. And I love that. When we have that feeling about our team that we're super capable and we have a lot of good guys going in good ways, that is always great. That's the way I was hoping most of the season would be like. And we've seen flashes of it at different times where we really look so well oiled and good together and we're playing at a high level, but it's just not consistent enough. This whole season has been messed up with consistency to a degree. But part of it is it's like a chicken or the egg thing. We were inconsistent because of difficult problems. Difficult problems come, and then they make consistency a problem. Then the consistency becomes snowballs into part of more problems, and then we got to fix that. Like there was a lot of like trying to fix things on the fly, and consistency was a problem at different times for sure. And it's too bad. But I love that Bradley still believes in them. Listen, we get into a good groove and we start playing at a high level at the right time in the next 2 weeks going in the postseason. Yeah, we can make a lot of noise. I don't care about home court and all this kind of stuff. We can be very dangerous. And who knows how far we can go? Who knows? The sky's the limit. I may be crazy for saying that, but who knows how far we can go? We could try and win a championship this year. Let's do it. Let's go. Mike's saying, yeah, I checked the Raptors tonight you guys were at, but the shot was hit the next game. And both questions asked about those nights were are Raptor freaks. One, Shere Khan, I think, and the other, Isaac. Yeah. Shere Khan asked on the Indy game, and Isaac asked on the Detroit game. Yeah. I'm glad you went back and watched those, Mike. Yeah, they were good ones. Leslie saying, Fred is our El Capitan. We have to remember that his job is not just playing basketball. He has to hold this team together on and off the floor. That's right. And there's a lot of work he's been doing behind the scenes. In fact, one of the people that Chris Boucher put on notice in his Hustle Play podcast has been so important this year and that people don't even realize it. And I love that he said it was Thad Young. He said, in some ways, Thaddeus has been keeping us afloat with his veteran leadership and his wisdom and guiding us through this very hard season. And that he gives a lot of credit to Thad for being a very strong leader on our team as far as keeping us together. And I appreciate that. I know Fred has his part in it too. And I'm with Leslie on this. This is our captain. This is our guy that does so many good things. And part of the reason why they want him off our team is because he kills them. He kills the other teams, and they're sick of feeling like that. So, of course, as much as I want Jaylen Brown to leave the Celtics because he's unhappy, other people like the Celtics fans want Fred to leave Toronto because it will make them like happier. They won't have to deal with Fred because he's a pain in their ass. He kills them. Of course, they want to see him leave. So when Raptor fans have the same things that they want as other fan nations that hate us, and they want to destroy us. Yeah, you don't have the right things, Raptor fans. That you think the same thing as a Celtic fan that wants to destroy us. Maybe you need to recalibrate what you're thinking and what you want. Let's see. Sheer Khan saying, I think Masai is keeping Barton for the playoffs. We'll play Dowtin the rest of the games. Philadelphia and Boston games could be the 3 he plays for sure. Probably not dressed for Charlotte games. Lots of chess going on. Well, we're getting down to like the stretch run that I think Dowtin can play every single game because we haven't used him in a couple games. I think they said he had 46 games, so he can play 4. So that means he can, yeah, you're probably right. So he'll miss like 3 of those games because he can play 4 games still. And maybe he'll be used for like the Boston games, Milwaukee and Philly, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But there's definitely, they'll figure it all out with Dowtin for that. And I think that depending on Barton's injury, let's see how badly he's injured. If he's badly injured, maybe we do get rid of him and convert Jeff Dowtin because it makes sense. We'll have to see how badly Will Barton's hurt. Because if he's not available for the rest of the postseason all of a sudden because of his ankle, well, then it would make a lot of sense to drop him and convert Jeffrey Dowtin then. Yeah. Let's see. G saying Chris gave Thad a ton of credit for being a good vet for the young players. Yeah. I didn't read your comment until just now, but yeah, he totally did. That's part of it is like these vets have been very helpful this season, keeping things afloat. Thaddeus Young, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. These guys have been very, very important to keep things all together and us not turning on each other. Fiercely saying, I hope I'm making sense, but Fred's arrogance is warranted and healthy as a self-motivation. I agree with this. Unlike Dylan Brooks or Trae Young's arrogance, just naming those 2 douches, but there are others in my opinion. Listen, some people just like they look at somebody like Fred and they say, you don't deserve to be so cocky. Like they really like it's really messed up. They, like I said, they don't know his path. They don't know what he's overcome, and they don't understand that part of his makeup to be who he is, he has to have a bit of the swagger. You cannot get to the levels he's gotten and have the success that you have without having some of this confidence. And I think that people just misinterpret it. It's not like he's an arrogant guy behind the scenes with the players and the team. He's very humble. He's very loving. He's very understanding, and he's very like team oriented. It's just in some ways they see him publicly, whether it's in the interviews or on the court, and they think he's some sort of arrogant guy. Like, let's take this point for example. All right, this is the real Fred VanVleet. In the game last night, there was a move he put on one of the Wizards. It was let me see. It was a guy off the bench. Goodwin. It was Goodwin. He crossed him up and he broke his ankles in the middle of the game. You know what I'm talking about, that play where he did this and this, and then he went flying over there and like, oh, it was so good. And at the free throw line after that play, they were talking about it and joking around about it. Like, these guys have respect for Fred. Like what's his name again? I keep forgetting his name. Goodwin kept talking to him, and he's like, man, you really got me, man. And he's like, Fred was like, yeah, I did. And he was like, he wasn't being cocky about it. He was pretty humble about it. And Gafford was laughing about it. The referee was laughing about it. And Goodwin was actually not upset about it. He was actually very impressed and respected Fred for breaking his ankles at that point in time. And in some ways, that shows like a general respect that the common NBA player has for Fred's skills, that he broke him down and broke his ankles with that crossover hezzy. Ooh, he had to respect him. He's like, damn, Fred, that was pretty good. He's smiling. Fred's like, yeah, I got you. Good, huh? And then, like, he says in there, and Gafford's laughing about it too. I mean, that's just good vibes. And if he was an asshole, these guys wouldn't be laughing with him because he just crossed them over. You have to respect like the player sometimes in the game. You can, hate the game, but respect the player, especially if he does something like that to you. And that was a really important moment in the game in that kind of way. And I think look at that whole situation, Raptors fans or Raptors nation that hates Fred. Look at the respect he has from Goodwin and the Wizards for breaking the ankles. I will take Trae Young on this. Trae Young's arrogance is really cocky. He thinks he deserves calls. That's why he threw the ball at Scott Wall the other day, and he's really weird. But Dylan Brooks, in some ways, I think he's more like Fred. I know you may hate him and you may think he's a douche, but in some ways, the way Dylan's being right now is kind of like what Fred's doing, but not Fred's much nicer in some ways, but in some ways I could kind of put those together. I don't know. I like Dylan Brooks. And I think that what he's doing in some ways is very Rodman like. Like he's very much like the Dennis Rodman of the league at this time because he's kind of hated. He's a villain, and like a lot of people don't like him. And in some ways, I get it. I get it. MSJ saying Fred is near 8 assists per game now. He has made the needed change to his approach. Props to him. You can be critical, of course, but if the corrections are made, it's not them. It's at this point, it's you. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with Poeltl. They talked about it last night about how his assists and the usage of the pick and roll is so high with us at this point because Poeltl's around, and that is a big part of it for sure. But yeah, you know what? Listen, that's the thing we've been saying all along. Fred Taylor makes his game to what the Raptors need on that night. If we need him to be that scoring shooting guard to score a lot of points to help us win like he did last year, so be it. If we want him to be more of a balance 50-50 between his shooting and the passing, he'll do it. We've even seen him cut his his shooting completely out and just be a passer and just be a straight up point guard at times this season also. So if he's not making his shot, well, he can just revert to being that passing classic point guard and setting other guys up. So he's useful no matter what. And yeah, you know what? He's always said he doesn't care what his job is. He doesn't care how many points he scores. He doesn't care about this or that. He just cares about winning and helping his team win in whatever role he's on. If they told him, you're at the end of the bench, Fred, and you're coming off the bench now, he would take it and say, okay, coach. But he would still for damn sure try and play so well that they'd have to make him play. But he'd accept that role if they told him that. I think people really mischaracterize what he's all about and what he cares about. And that's winning and winning on his team a lot. Omari's saying OG Staples commercials are classic material. Aren't they, Omari? They're so good. Like, he is so funny in those. In fact, you got to watch them all in a row. If you really catch all of them, they're hilarious. I would love, I don't watch TV because I just don't see commercials anymore. But if I was watching TV and the OG commercials came on, I would want to watch them. I wouldn't want to DVR around them. I'd want to catch them when they come on. Some people use DVRs these days and maybe they don't see the OG Staples commercials. Well, keep it on their DVR. Don't cut out those commercials with OG in them. All right, I'm going to have to try and finish up soon, guys, because I really probably should rest my voice. G saying Fred is the fastest undrafted player to reach 6,000 points. We'll confirm that stat, I believe, and I read that stat correctly. I think that's right. They were showing a stat with him last night with the most points by an undrafted player in the league currently right now. And there were a couple guys above him that have played longer, like Udonis Haslem. But I think he's like, yeah, that can make sense to me. That seems like it's right. Although I wonder about guys like way back, like Moses Malone. Although Moses wasn't necessarily as much a scorer as Fred. So this could make sense. Moses really a rebounder and with some scoring to it too. But yeah, and this kind of makes sense to me. Ben Wallace is not really a scorer, so he wouldn't have gotten to 6,000 points that quickly as an undrafted player either. Let's see. Mike is saying Fred said in the beginning press conference what his role was this year, and now people are seeing it. Before clearly in the first half, injuries threw the plan out for a bit, but healthy, we're back at it. Yeah. He's been very flexible. This whole entire season, the casual fan will not understand Fred being flexible and changing his role throughout the season at different times. And I really commend him for that. In some ways, it's like he did set up his season to be a certain role, but it didn't work out right from the start. It did not work out, and he had to revert back to being more of a point guard. Tom Duke saying, and yet Captain Fred VanVleet still just cares about the team winning. Let's fucking go and hope you feel better, Legs. Thank you, Tom Duke. Thank you so much. I've lost the lead and won't make the play in. Oh, no, Tom. It's not over yet. Give yourself a chance. There's still some time. There's still a couple weeks left in the season. You could still maybe get Duke Rocks. It's funny that it's Tom Duke and Duke Rocks at the top. It's all about the Dukes, the Duke boys at the top there. There you go. All right, let me keep going. Monique's saying, got good words from Brad Fay on my write-up after every away game. I'm being watched in a good way. This is awesome. So Brad Fay told you that he's been checking out your write-ups after the game, after the game. That's fantastic stuff, Monique. That is fantastic. You know what? Let me go look at Monique's little write-up from yesterday. I always love seeing it. This could be a segment too. We got Jakob's write-up. Let's see what Monique's write-up from last night is. Oh, did you post it, Monique? I'm seeing the stuff from last week. Okay, there's the Bucks. Where's your write-up from the Wizards game yesterday, Monique? Did you write it up yet and post it? I don't see it right now. Oh, I'll try and find it another time. That's awesome. Brad Fay is reading your write-ups. You go, Monique. That's awesome. Kareem Thomas is saying, not sure if you covered this yet. Jeff Dowtin is eligible for the play-in, but we have to cut someone. Yeah. Yeah, we have to cut someone and make him a two-way. I mean, convert him from two-way to a regular contract. That's the whole thing. Well, like I said, Kareem, if Will Barton's injury is serious and he is not going to be available for the rest of the season or a play-in situation, I think it would make sense to go ahead and make this move. That in some ways it's too bad the things that happen will and things. And I don't know if we'll get much usage out of him in the playoffs. Maybe he's come back. We got to see how severe his ankle turn is and what he's expected to be out for. Maybe it's just a regular one and he'll be fine and he'll be ready tomorrow. So we'll have to see. But yeah, they have to cut someone if they want Jeff for the postseason. That's just the rules. Mike saying Scottie is learning all the positions to be a better point guard and team runner when he's the backbone of this team. Scoring will be an overtime thing, but the guy that can run things is even more key then. Yeah, in some ways, like he's more valuable than just a scorer. Anybody in this league can score. Anybody can get in there and get scoring if they give the shots and get the opportunities. Now, can you produce without having to have the ball in your hand all the time? That's the question. Can you be like Chris Boucher and make a lot of points off of offensive rebounds or just manufacturing opportunities with steals and doing different things? And that's what Scottie kind of is more than some ways. Is like he gets his points from garbage. He gets his points from different opportunities who he's left open or whatever. Transition, those kind of things. Nameless is saying Scottie identifies as a 6'9" point guard as per his Instagram bio. Yeah, he wants to be the point guard. And that's what I'm saying. He wants to pass. He doesn't want to shoot. Well, who's a perfect person for him to pass to? Pascal Siakam. That guy will make all kinds of shots, and Scottie will get a ton of assists with Pascal on the team next to him, Drew Gooden. Why do you not understand this? Wade saying Fred is crucial to keeping our team aggressive. I think he's just good at keeping us organized and kind of keeping the rhythm and the tempo of the game in a way that we are more suitable to win. Then in some ways, the fourth quarter time, it really is an important time for Fred because he's kind of keeping the tempo and the vibe of the game with the possessions and the timing with the clock. And like he's the one thinking about 2 for 1. He's the one thinking about, all right, we need to like manufacture this. We need to have this many possessions within this frame of the clock and get, score on this and do this. And I'm like reading the floor with where the defense is standing and I'm breaking it apart. Like he has way more experience doing that kind of stuff and he's really good at it. So there's so many things he's doing late in the game that casuals just don't understand. And if they understood it more, they'd value him more than they do. If they really, really understood basketball better. Mike is saying one word, money, Luka, 30,000 or 35,000 for this. I think it was 35. He actually got fined more than Fred for doing this. Let's see. One word, money, is the reason we haven't converted Dowtin. Dowtin's number would push us past the luxury tax number. We're looking to pay taxes in 24, 25 and beyond, depending. The repeater tax is bad. See, that's the thing. We don't want to go on the luxury tax this season. That's a big part of it. That is part of it right there. In some ways, we'll have Jeff around, and I understand people are anxious. They want to see him in the playoffs this year. Well, what if he's going to be on our playoffs next year? And it'll be fine if he doesn't play for us in the playoffs this year. I don't know. It's like Mike said, it's money. It'll put us over the luxury tax, and we'll have to pay into it. And it could be a very much a financial decision. Just because we want him, Jeff wants it, whatever. It may not make good business sense, is what Mike's saying. Jody's saying Raptors win last night, and SGA and Shaden Sharp have a great head-to-head game. Only downer, Canadians Marcus Carr and Ryan Nebhart not going to the Final Four, both lost in the Elite Eight. Very weird teams in the Final Four this year. Two Florida teams in there. Florida Atlantic at University. Wow. Wow. That is a school that I know. And this is what I know about Florida Atlantic. When I went to Florida State, we would have games against Florida Atlantic in our basketball season that were like kind of gimme games, like homecoming games, like games that you were like early in the season, you want to get some easy opponents to tune up for like the big ACC rivals like UNC, Georgia Tech, Maryland, Duke. You know, when you have an FSU schedule and you see Florida Atlantic University on there, it was like, oh, that's a win. Check. Seeing them in the Final Four right now is insane to me. Florida Atlantic, you go. Of course, ACC Miami is in the Final Four. Very interesting to see the Hurricanes in the Final Four also. This is a very strange Final Four. These are all very like not like normal Final Four teams. And in fact, it's kind of crazy who's in the Final Four considering how many people were picking this team or this team or this team, because there were so many good juggernauts and people were like Houston, Alabama, UNC. They had all their teams, but now we look at who are the Final Four, and it's actually very surprising, very, very surprising. Two Florida teams, Miami and Florida Atlantic University, in the Final Four this year. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Cooper on Nandan. I apologize if I said your name wrong, Kubran. Good to see you. 9:30 every morning. We were talking Raptors here. Tomorrow we'll have a preview for the Miami game. Today we're reacting to the Wizards game. I don't know how the Raps lost to Indiana. That sucked to watch. I know. I look back and like we were at the game. And in some ways I was like, you know what? All right, listen. It really is this, Kubran. The main important factor to that Indiana game was Nebhard and Mathurin. That these guys, Canadian kids, were playing in their first ever NBA game in their home country. That they had not played a game here in Toronto until that game. And they wanted to have a good debut on home soil with all their family in the crowd. In some ways, their motivation with their friends and family there and their patriotism and their feelings of like, I'm in Canada playing the NBA and with some family here overrode our ability to get up for the game and how we wanted it. And then you add in like these late scratches for that game with Scottie, Gary, and Precious. And that was huge detriment of losing important guys in our lineup with the gumption of those young Canadians wanting to come here and put on a good show for their family. And it meant something more to them. In some ways, we looked at this game as just another game with Indiana. Well, they looked at this another whole other way that was way more important. And that is why Nebhard came out and absolutely killed us from the start, because he very much he had this date circled on his calendar. Let's just put it that way. And it was just another game to us. But he had this date circled on his calendar probably from the very beginning of the season. And that's the difference right there. They took this game very seriously because they had a lot on the line and they wanted to do, and we didn't. And we were missing some key guys at that time. And yeah, then we lost. And the crazy thing is, we underestimated Indiana all season. They swept us this season. We didn't beat them once. And I felt like every game, I was like, we're going to win against Indiana going in. I was like, we're going to beat Indiana tonight. But we wouldn't. They would be something weird. Like it'd be Mathurin would take over, and he would like be the best absolute player in the fourth quarter and take the team to win, their team to win in Indiana. That one time we played them there. And then, it would be bad lining up where we would be playing them when we were really hurt. And they had more of their guys together, like Tyrese was playing, and they were clicking. And then they beat us in a game that we should have won then too. Yeah, this Indiana series this year has really symbolized us not taking other teams seriously as we should have. And I think the Pacers were somebody we should have respected more this season. And we just didn't. We will next year, trust me. Well, look at how they swept us this year and the rising young stars on that team, and we won't take them lightly again. We may have had that this year, but we won't next year. Great comment. And yeah, I didn't understand it too because I was at the game. And I was like, we should be beating them, playing way better. But no, the Canadian kids came in and they wanted this one worse, much more than we did. Nameless is saying, I'm kind of worried about the status of Scottie's wrist. If you noticed last night, he was doing everything one handed. See, that's part of it too. Like in some ways, hey, that's no problem. Listen, I commend him. He played hurt. He's playing with one hand. That's Larry Bird kind of stuff. Listen, I don't. As long as he didn't get more hurt, that's fine. OG had a thing on his wrist and the post game conference, and they made note of it. It's like, oh, you have something on your wrist, OG. It's like, yeah, I have this on my wrist after every single game. It doesn't matter. And he wanted to clarify that. But you notice that Scottie was not using that one hand. Well, he can play really good with one hand. Hey. And I don't think he re-aggravated it or made it worse in the game, which is good. Cowboys saying, everybody hit that like button and have a great day, Lex. Get better. Get some Buckleys. Later, freaks, Raptor freaks, on to the next game. Mascot matchup tomorrow. Yeah, we'll have that tomorrow, Bradley. Don't worry. The mascot matchup will be in a full effect, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to get something. I'll get some cough drops and just drink a lot of juice and just rest up. Mike saying Dowtin can play all the games left. Once our G League season ended, the restrictions on two ways for us are lifted. The 50-game limit is for the G League season duration time period. So Dowtin is good. Okay, that's weird. Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. Duke saying, good morning, folks. Lex, hope you're feeling better today. I'm loving Dowtin. OG looked awesome last night. Agree. Fred has been a great captain all season long. Good to see Scottie back as well. Yes, I love that comment by the Fantasy Basketball League leading Duke Rocks. Yes, you're looking good up there at the top there. But yeah, all good stuff that you're saying here. I agree. Jam Jose is here. Shout out to the Raptors freak. Wagwan, my G. Yes, Jam Jose. Yes, always good. Yes, testify. And always good to see you, my friend. Shere Khan saying, Lex, yeah, that was funny. Goodwin and Gafford even had a good laugh about it. That's what I'm saying. Fred bringing the vibes back. There is a reason Toronto fell in love with Fred's game. Re-sign our free agents. I'm all about that. Shere Khan, rookie of the year for this season, coming into the Raptor Freak chat and just being strong all season long since he came in. And just, I love the comments he's saying about this and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Fred is good vibes, y'all. You see how he works with the refs and tries to make things good. He's outspoken. He says things and people listen now. And in some ways, he's becoming more and more a leader across the NBA. I think that press conference put more eyes on him as a leader and a voice that people respect because he said something that everybody's been wanting to say, and he was willing to take the fine. And I think that other NBA players in the league really do appreciate him for putting them on blast in that way. And in some ways, he may be like more respected around the league in general with the common NBA player because of him saying that. So I'm all about it. Freddie is a good dude. The refs respect him and like him. A lot of them, most of them, maybe not Ben Taylor. And then a lot of his peers, the other players, do really respect him and like him. I mean, the vets like him too. Like all the old announcers and the people that are past and retired, they respect his journey. They respect where he's come from and how much he's accomplished. And I don't get why these ungrateful idiots in Raptors Nation don't themselves. Everybody that matters does, whether it's their teammates, the other players in the league, other coaches, our coaches, the GM of our team, the vets, analysts on TV, good Raptor fans like us. We all get it with Fred, but there's a couple knuckleheads out there that just don't. And that's just, I don't get it. I don't get why they don't get it. Fiercely saying, congrats, Raptors superfan Monique Lawrence, on your write-up. Where can we see it on Facebook? Yeah, it's normally posted on Facebook and Instagram. Let me see. Is it on Instagram? Maybe I can find it on Instagram better because I don't see it on Facebook. Monique, did you do it for last night? Let's see. Superfan. Monique, are you on? You're on Instagram, right? Oh, I can't find you right now. I don't know what's going on with my computer. I may just be sick. It's on Facebook, though, Fiercey. If you want to find it, you got to add Monique as a friend on Facebook. So just look up Monique Lawrence, super fan, and you'll be able to see her write-ups. Isaac saying, congrats to you in your home state of Florida with 2 NCAA teams remaining. There, I said it once and fulfilled my life quota of showing gratitude to Florida. Well, it has nothing to do with me. Those schools have nothing to do with me. In fact, I hate the Hurricanes. I hope that they get beat and put out right away. I really do hate the University of Miami. I'm not with them. They're against our nation of Florida State and the Seminoles and Scottie Barnes. Yeah, we don't like Miami. FAU, I like underdogs, so maybe I'll root for them. But yeah, thank you, Isaac. Yeah, I appreciate that. And you have fulfilled your life quota. Do you need to validate your parking? Let's see. Mike is saying, Isaac, nice shot on Raptors tonight. You got some game for sure. Nice. Yeah. Well, that was that comment. He wasn't on the show. He was just on the comment. He commented through the chat. That wasn't him that was there shooting the shots. All right, let's see. Monique is saying, W Stream, feel better soon. Keep at it. Let's keep climbing. Go Raptors. Always togetherness at all times. Seriously, we are right there, as I said, Lex. The other day, we will leapfrog the Hawks. What a time. Yeah, we need to do that. We need to get a better record than the Hawks and get that 8th position so we can play one playing game, beat that, hopefully the Brooklyn Nets, and get into the first round against the high seed, the 2nd seed. Duke saying Indiana are the Pistons from last season. Man, if we won all those games we should have won, we wouldn't be tolling in the play-in, and the pundits would have a different outlook for the Raps. Yeah, I agree with all of this. This is exactly right. There's a lot of losses this year. If we could have them back, our record looks so much better. We wouldn't be dealing with the play-in. This is all very true. Shirkan saying Indy was a tricky matchup for us. Sometimes it happens over the course of a full season. Miles, Halliburton, CJ matchup was weird. Even if they're worst team, just strange how it plays out. They're actually a good young team. They have good players, and their coach is a phenomenal coach. And they're no slack. The Indiana is a very proud team. Their franchise has done very well in the history of it at different times. But yeah, they needed to be back up on top of things, and they're building towards something good. Rick Carlisle is great. And yeah, these are good young players. Halliburton, Miles is still there for now. Yeah, they're a good team. Logical saying Dwayne Casey is Rick Carlisle's coaching tree. Both are defensive coaches. That's true. Rick Carlisle won the championship as the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Dwayne Casey was one of his number one assistants, his defensive coach, the year that they won their championship in Dallas with the Mavericks. So that's definitely true. Rick Carlisle and Dwayne Casey have a connection. Monique is saying on Facebook, Fiercey, thanks. Only for away games. I'm just very busy during home games. Okay, so you didn't do it last night. Okay, so you're doing it for away games. Cool. Thanks, Monique. I was wondering where it was. Isaac saying at logical, thanks. I'm on the mend from an ankle injury and ready a 10-day if required. Got to take all the open shots. Yeah, Isaac, I hope you get better in time for your playoff because I know you got a playoff or something going on. Your ankle's a little messed up. Wayne saying, get some rum and lime for your throat, Lex. Works like a charm. I'm an AA. I don't drink alcohol. 13 years. And if I drank that, that would be really bad. I'd probably go to jail in the next couple of days if I took a drop of alcohol. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those kind of drunks that if I take even just a little bit, I'm gone. And then I'm in the curb and I'm like back to being like going to jail. So I cannot do that. So I will be drinking something that's non-alcoholic for sure. Mike saying, no doubt the Raps way next man up. W Stream. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Let me just do a recap real quick and get done before 2 hours. All right. Good job by the Raptors last night against the Wizards. OG, fantastic game. 18 points in the first quarter was fantastic. Freddie, great job being the captain and leading this team to win. Poeltl, another double-double. Fantastic job. Double-double for Siakam. You got to love that. And the glue guy, Scottie Barnes, coming out there and showing he's a factor in all kinds of different ways for winning basketball. We love that. Youngster, Christian Koloko off the bench. Really good stuff in limited time. It's cool, good to see Precious back on the court. We'll ease him back in, and hopefully he'll be getting more minutes as time goes on. Chris, always a good job. Jeffrey, you looked great out there. Fantastic job by you guys overall. Looking at the team stats real quick, the Raptors shot better than the Wizards, and we got way more shots than them. So in a lot of ways, we did dominate them. They did end up catching up and beating us at the three-point line by the end of the game. At the free throw line, we did way better at the free throw line than them, shooting 81%, and they only shot 60%. We took 4 less free throws, but we made 1 more free throw than them. We out-rebounded the hell out of them, 53-45, with 18 offensive rebounds last night. Fantastic, crashing the boards. 22 assists. We didn't get our assist number that I like, but 13 steals, that is phenomenal. 13 steals. I feel like they ripped us off for some blocks. That Koloko should have gotten more blocks. It was only 6 blocks. We beat them in the turnover game, causing 18 turnovers on their side. That's fantastic. 28 fast break points. I love seeing that. And we dominated the points in the paint, 54-36. Just a solid all-around game by the Raptors. Once again, we got to win our next couple games and leapfrog the Atlanta Hawks, as Monique has said. This would be very, very important. But right now, we're tied with them. And you know what? This is the thing. This is a great carrot to dangle in front of the Raptors for tomorrow. You're 37-38. You have tried to get back to 500 a couple times recently, and you have not gotten there. Let's make sure this happens this time with the home court advantage against a Miami Heat team that has had trouble with up and downs recently. Hopefully we can beat them on our home court tomorrow and get back to that 500 mark finally. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing, and I'd be so all about that. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hopefully I'll be feeling better, and I'll have more energy to my stream. I am really, really not feeling well. We're so crabby. It's all good, Wade. Some people know and some people don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not gonna say I wish I could drink the rum, but it's something that I have to safeguard myself every single day from. And there's always the danger of me going back out and picking up again. And after 13 years, I mean, I've gotten really good at safeguarding it, but it's something that I have to stay on top of, even though I have over a decade without a drop. If I do, I'll go right back to where I was, and that was jail. The last time I was drunk, I was in a Florida jail, and it was pretty scary and dangerous and bad and sucked. And I knew that this isn't the kind of life I want to continue to go towards, being in jail because I'm a bad drunk. So I had to get rid of that part. Yeah. Randolph saying, beloved Raptors freaks, most informative gang. Greetings. Good win last night. Thank you, Randolph. And on that note, thanks for watching today, everybody. We appreciate you, Randolph. And I hope everybody's doing great in your neck of the woods. All right. I'll be back tomorrow with the preview for the Miami game. We'll have everything for you. The ref report, the real mascot matchup, keys to a Raptors victory, all the latest lineup news for you to get you ready for a great Miami Heat game with the Kyle Lowry coming back to Toronto to play against us. All right, thanks again, and let's go Raptors!